Picture this. You walk into a store for one innocent item, bread. Simple mission, in and out. But then you see a crowd moving like a single organism toward one shelf, not the bread shelf, the toilet paper shelf. And your brain, your beautiful, intelligent brain, doesn't say, let me evaluate supply chains. No, your brain says, they know something I don't. Get the rolls. Today, we're talking about social proof, how crowds manufacture confidence, and how that confidence can be completely wrong. And by the end, you'll know why you can feel certain with zero facts, how misinformation spreads like perfume in an elevator, and how to build a mental anti-herd firewall without becoming the weirdo who argues with everyone at a party. Okay, maybe you'll still be the weirdo, but a wise weirdo. The core idea, clear trail. Here's the simple definition. Social proof is what happens when, in uncertainty, we look at what other people are doing to decide what's true, safe, valuable, or correct. It's not stupidity, it's efficiency. If you're in a strange city at night and everyone suddenly walks quickly in one direction, you don't stop to write a PhD thesis. You move. Because evolution didn't reward calmly verifying the data when the saber-toothed tiger was already RSVPing. Small, amused pause. But here's the twist. Social proof is like using crowd applause to measure the quality of a song, except sometimes the crowd is applauding because the clap sign turned on. Story 1. The line experiment. Let's go back to the 1950s. Psychologist Solomon Asch runs a simple experiment. A participant walks into a room. They see a set of lines. One line is obviously the same length as the target. Easy, right? Except everyone else in the room, secretly part of the experiment, starts giving the wrong answer, confidently. Now the participant is standing there thinking, my eyes say A, but the tribe says B. What happens? In Asch's results, a large majority of participants conformed at least once, even when the group was clearly wrong. You can literally be looking at the truth and still feel your confidence draining, because 8 confident humans beside you are like, are you sure you can see? Pause. This explains why some people leave group chats, not because they're busy, because their sanity is expensive. 2 engines of social proof. Psychologists usually describe 2 forces behind herd behavior. First, normative influence. I want to fit in. I don't want rejection. Second, informational influence. They probably know something I don't. Sometimes we follow the crowd to be liked, sometimes to be right, and sometimes we want the deluxe package, liked and right. That's how entire groups become confidently wrong together, with matching outfits. Story 2. The moving light. Now rewind to 1935. Researcher Muzaffar Sherif studies something called the autokinetic effect. In a dark room, a stationary point of light can appear to move. He asks people, how far did the light move? When people answer alone, they form their own estimates. But in groups, their answers slowly converge until a shared norm forms. And here's the unsettling part. Once that norm exists, it can stick, meaning the group didn't just influence opinions, it created a social reality. This is how crowds don't just spread beliefs, they manufacture them. The rabbit hole, information cascades. Let's go one level deeper. Economists call this an information cascade. That's when people observe others' actions and copy them, even if their own private information says otherwise, because the crowd's behavior looks like evidence. This produces herding, huge groups converging quickly on decisions built on very little real information. It's like 1,000 people retweeting a headline without reading the article, and the article literally says, please stop retweeting this headline. Story 3. Panic buying. Now think about COVID-era panic buying. It wasn't just fear, it was visibility. You see videos of people stockpiling supplies, and your brain goes, well, if they think it's scarce, it might become scarce. So you buy, which makes it scarce, which proves the crowd right. Research shows social media can amplify this loop, spreading fear and showing others stocking up. And yes, in some places, it got so intense, people literally stole toilet paper. Imagine telling your grandchildren, back in my day, we fought over bathroom tissue. They'll ask, so civilization collapsed? And you'll say, no, we were just emotionally sponsored by the crowd. When the crowd is wrong. Most of the time, social proof is useful. If everyone runs out of a building, don't stand there saying, I choose independence. Be independent outside. But social proof becomes dangerous when the situation is ambiguous, emotions are high, and the crowd is loud. That's perfect territory for misinformation. Take the 1998 MMR autism scare. A study published in The Lancet fueled massive fear. Later, it was retracted, but the belief lingered. Because once a crowd treats something as truth, it gains the psychological weight of common knowledge. Social proof can turn a rumor into a movement, and then the movement becomes the proof. That loop is one of humanity's most expensive mistakes. Why social proof gets turbocharged? Social proof becomes especially powerful when uncertainty is high. When you're unsure, you borrow confidence from others. The crowd feels like your tribe. We copy people who seem like us. And the behavior is visible. Visible actions spread faster than invisible reasoning. That's why ratings, likes, testimonials, and bestseller tags work. They turn popularity into a shortcut for quality. One hotel study even found that telling guests that most visitors reuse their towels increased towel reuse. Meaning, if I put a message on your phone saying, most responsible adults close this app and go to sleep, you'd feel personally attacked and spiritually convicted. The anti-herd toolkit. So, how do you use social proof without being used by it? 5 tools. Simple, powerful. 1. Name the spell. When urgency comes from everyone's doing it, say, this is social proof pressure. Naming it weakens it. 2. Separate popular from true. Ask, is this evidence or just volume? Crowds can be loud with zero data. 3. Find the original signal. In cascades, the first few moves shape everything. Ask, where did this start? What's the primary source? 4. Run the base rate check. What usually happens in situations like this? Base rates are boring, but truth often hides in boring places. 5. Use the quiet expert rule. Crowds create confidence. Experts create explanations. Trust the person who calmly explains mechanisms over the person who loudly declares certainty. The big reframe. Closing wisdom. Let's land this plane. Social proof is not your enemy. It's a survival shortcut, a coordination tool, a cultural glue. But it becomes a trap when you outsource your thinking to the crowd and call it wisdom. Because crowds can find truth fast, coordinate help, build culture, and also mass-produce delusion, punish dissent, and turn fear into policy. So here's the grown-up lesson. Follow people when they have reasons, not just when they have numbers. Because 1 million people cannot turn a wrong idea into a right one. They can only turn it into a louder wrong idea. If this made you think of a time you followed the crowd or resisted it, drop it in the comments. And if you want part 2, the most dangerous crowd trick, when everyone is silent. Yes, pluralistic ignorance. Tell me, and I'll make it. Like, subscribe, and share this with that friend who says, I don't get influenced, because that sentence is usually the first symptom.